was a murder without motive, the brutal killing of 16-year-old Eric Kane in Flagstaff. This decades-old case back in the spotlight as the killer, Jacob Wideman, fights to get out on home arrest. This is Arizona Crime Uncovered. I'm Ashley Holden. From controversial decisions to relationships with prison psychologists, Wideman's battle from behind bars is full of twists and turns. But with the hearing looming and the possibility that Wideman might be released from prison, we speak exclusively with the teen victim's dad in his first ever sit-down interview. 1986, Eric Kane was a 16-year-old growing up on the East Coast as the youngest of three.
He was a very bright young man. Did incredibly well in school, had a lot of friends.
His dad, Sandy Kane, talking to me over Zoom from New York, remembering his family's life in the 80s.
We were a close family. Eric looked up to his brother and sister, and, the relationship was always terrific. He had an incredible sense of humor, and he liked to take advantage of it. He could tell some really good jokes, and he was very good at laughing at himself. He was also at the same time a very serious young man. He was very concerned about what was going on in the world.
Summers for Eric meant spending time at camp in Maine.
Eric was there for 7 years, and at 16, it was his last year in the camp. And the camp had a tradition that it was an option, of course, because you had to pay extra money to do this. But in your last year in camp, if you elected to do so, they would send you in a small group of boys, the oldest boys, with one of the senior counselors for a 3-week trip out west. And they'd visit all the national parks in LA and Vegas and San Francisco, etc. And our oldest son had done this 4 years earlier and raved about it. And Eric spent 4 years looking forward to this adventure. It was kind of a rite of passage kind of thing. And the group of 4 boys and a counselor were traveling by car. I think they flew into St. Louis and then drove around the western half of the United States from one place to another. Then they were in Flagstaff on their way to the Grand Canyon, and they were staying overnight in this motel.
But it was in that hotel where Eric's life would be cut short. One of the other boys on the trip, Jacob Wideman, also just a teen, stabbing Eric twice in the chest, leaving him to bleed to death. Nearly 40 years have passed, but Sandy still remembers getting the call from Flagstaff police.
I don't remember the exact words, but that he had bad news, that there had been a terrible incident. I quickly got off the phone, rushing to go home to my wife, and I remember, as I was running out of my office, my secretary, who knew that I had just been on the phone with the police because she always answered my phone, she said, is everything okay? And I said, no, Eric's dead.
Wideman, who had borrowed the camp counselor's keys, ultimately using the rental as his getaway car.
The real horror of it is, from everything the medical examiner said, Eric went into shock pretty quickly, so he wouldn't have been aware that all of this was happening, but he said it probably took him at least 3 hours to bleed to death, which is how he died. He didn't die immediately from the stabbing. If Wideman had said at some point, oh my God, what have I done? Either when he was still there or when he ran away or even after he stole the car, he could have stopped someplace and made a phone call, even an anonymous phone call, and said, go to this motel room, somebody's dying there. If that had happened, and he thought about it at all and gave a damn, my son would be alive today.
Wideman eventually turning himself in, but the case made national headlines. Adding to the intrigue, Wideman's father, an award-winning author, and a year after Eric's murder, Wideman made a second murder confession, which he later recanted. Is it hard to grapple with the fact that someone did this, had no motive, had nothing, and just killed your son?
It's not hard, Ashley. It's impossible. It's been 38 years. I have no better understanding today than I did 38 years ago. It doesn't make any sense.
A judge in Coconino County sentencing Wideman in 1988 to life in prison for Eric's death, with the possibility of parole after 25 years.
When he was finally sentenced 2 years later, the judge in the sentencing said that He was going to recommend that even though Jake was going to be eligible for parole in 25 years, he was going to make a recommendation that would be in the record to the parole board that he never be paroled. And his reasoning, and he was public about it, was, this crime is inexplicable now. And based on what happened, I can't imagine it will be any less inexplicable 25 years from now. So you should never get out. And I feel the same way, except it's not 25 years, it's 38 years.
But in 2011, Wideman started battling for his release, a process full of twists and turns Sandy and his family never expected.
We sat there, frankly, speechless.
After 25 years, Jacob Wideman started appealing to the Board of Executive Clemency, hoping to be released. He was turned down each time until 2016.
My full name is Jacob Edgar Wideman.
Around that time, ABC15 started following the case. Chief Investigator Dave Biscabine exposing while behind bars, Wideman had married two of his prison psychologists, one who was working for the state.
Here's the LinkedIn page for Dr. Marta DeSoto. She's a clinical psychologist, and she had a big contract with the state. Last fiscal year alone, she made more than $260,000. Doing what? Well, evaluating cases for the Department of Child Safety. But her contract was canceled once we called top state officials with our story. They had no idea that she was married to a murderer and that she's been working for years to get him released and get her moved into her home with her two kids. How do you feel about the state terminating your contract?
I have no comments.
In 2016, DeSoto and others addressing the Board of Executive Clemency as Wideman appealed to the board once again, but that hearing ending in confusion.
Roll, I am not in favor.
The board voted unanimously against outright release. But after the vote, the two members closest to the camera here said they wanted to discuss whether to release Wideman to a halfway house. But the board chair told them no, it was too late. The vote was final. Everyone confused, including Wideman's attorney.
There's been no vote on home arrest.
And Wideman hearing all of it go down over the phone.
I didn't understand.
Wideman, the hearing is over now.
Months later, Wideman got a new hearing, which ended with a controversial vote, releasing him on home arrest. The Kane family listening to the meeting over the phone.
We sat there, frankly, speechless that these people could think that this was somebody that ought to potentially be let out. Whether he was on home arrest or parole, he was going to be out. Sure, the rules are different, but he's still out. He could still violate his home arrest as other inmates had done.
Wideman would be out on home arrest for just months before going before the board again, hoping for outright parole.
I don't think anyone can look at the record that I've established over the last 6 months and find reasons against that.
I cannot agree.
The crime itself was despicable.
We need more time to monitor Mr. Wideman's transition.
In the months since Wideman's release, the Clemency Board has had almost a complete turnover. The new board unanimously rejecting his full release, all saying the old board too lenient in granting him home arrest. But it's a decision they can't undo, and the victim's family is still fuming. When the old board granted home arrest, they wanted Wideman in a halfway house where he would be supervised and have a strict structure. But after just 3 months, Wideman's parole officer let him move into his own apartment. Mr. Kane couldn't believe it and claims the state hid that information from him, also saying the parole officer and his supervisor had been punished in relation to the case.
These two individuals have been reprimanded for their actions.
Given those issues, Mr. Kane demanded the state review the tracking of Wideman's GPS ankle monitor.
Knowing the real Jacob Wideman to be a deceptive, lying manipulator, I am confident that the investigation that will show that he has seriously violated the conditions of release and that he must be sent back to prison where he belongs.
Have you ever been anywhere you're not supposed to be?
No, I haven't.
Do you feel that you're a danger to the public at all?
Absolutely not.
But the twist that connects the case to 2024 happening in July of 2017. Wideman arrested, taken back to prison for violating his release conditions.
Jacob Wideman was picked up earlier this week for violating his release conditions. We've learned it's because he didn't follow through on required appointments with a psychologist.
Ever since, Wideman has been fighting the violation accusation and claims the process that followed, as the board revoked his home arrest, didn't follow due process. The battle brought Wideman and his legal team before the board multiple times, and even before numerous Superior Court judges.
Why is it so unfair? Why is it such a due process violation? Because the board's view in revoking his conditional liberty was focused uniquely, myopically on one thing. Was there a violation, no matter how technical? And that's only even if there was a violation. And again, I do think circumstances matter. We don't look at it under a microscope and ignore and blind ourselves to the reality of everything else. But even if there was a violation, there still has to be criminal recidivism, lapse.
ABC15's cameras there in August of 2023 as Wideman's attorneys were back in court describing their take on the situation, but prosecutors saying Wideman had plenty of chances to make an appointment.
Now, Mr. Wideman has served 6+ and counting additional years in prison for failing to book an appointment with the doctor on a single day when the doctor was unavailable and out of the office. And then by the time the doctor called back, he'd already been arrested. That same doctor is the same doctor who Mr. Wideman had twice previously said, I'd like to start treatment with that person, and been told, no, you need to get treatment with CHC instead, which he did, and he excelled at. This was not a problematic prisoner. This was not strikeout. This is not a problematic parolee. This is a model parolee. This is somebody who has truly been a model parolee. This isn't to go back to the court's hypothetical of somebody who's just like, I ain't listening to what parole has to tell me. It's the opposite.
You can look at the hearing officer's written decision and his oral findings. And despite that communication with Ms. Guerin, when he went to make his final findings, he did find that Mr. Wideman's conduct in not making an appointment was intentional, but that Mr. Wideman sent an email. And that after the one email, he didn't send any further emails to Mr. McCain for the appointment. And that even though he had Mr. Kane's personal cell phone number, he chose not to use that cell phone number and only called his business twice on one day, back to back. So the hearing officer found that Mr. Wideman's conduct was intentional and found that he had lapsed or was about to lapse. When we talk about lapse in criminal ways, I think what you can say is plausible is that the delay of time, how often Mr. Wideman delayed getting done what the the parole officer asked him to do, suggests that he was avoiding complying and trying to manipulate the system.
A judge denying Wideman relief. At the time of airing, he is still ultimately behind bars and has been working to appeal that decision.
They have arrested him properly. They have had 2 revocation hearings where they unanimously decided that was proper and that he should remain in jail. They have filed very substantial, strong briefs in response to all of his special actions in the courts, as well as this Court of Appeals. And the brief that was filed by Wideman for the Court of Appeals doesn't have anything new in it that hasn't already been overturned.
But this September, Sandy's surprised when he received an email that revealed a new possible path forward for Wideman.
I've never seen a similar case.
And I will fight like hell to make sure that the board does the right thing.
September of 2024, as Wideman appealed the lower court's decision, Sandy received a settlement agreement. The Board of Executive Clemency will be considering December 3rd. So obviously this settlement agreement is signed, back in August. When did you first find out about the settlement agreement?
We got an email from the executive director of the Board of Executive Clemency on the 4th of September, and telling me a little bit about that settlement agreement and attached a copy of it. This settlement agreement and the terms of the settlement agreement provide him a solution that is as good or most likely far better than he would ever get from the Court of Appeals. So he loves the idea of the settlement agreement. The Board of Clemency and the Department of Corrections for the past 7 years has been doing everything right.
The settlement agreement says if approved, Wideman should be put back on home arrest with his same previous release conditions.
There are different board members now who will be hearing this case for the first time.
Do you feel like the settlement agreement has a chance to be approved?
I do.
There are people like Donna Ham, the founder of Middle Ground Prison Reform, who have spoken out in support of Wideman.
The statute for revocation is very clear. You have to violate a condition of supervision and you have to be about to lapse into criminal conduct or associations. And that second prong is completely unrelated to not being able to obtain an appointment with a doctor.
When it comes to Wideman, do you believe that the community of Arizona is safe with him on home arrest?
I believe that having listened to hearings of Jake Wideman and seen the documents that have been submitted, that he has thoroughly dealt with the cause of his crime. I think he's done that. I think he's gotten the treatment he needs. I think his demonstrated behavior over 9 months when he was out demonstrated that he wasn't a threat to anyone. And so, yes, I very firmly believe that he can be paroled to the community.
She plans to be at the December meeting and even submit letters of support to the board. ABC15 tried to reach out to the board's members who first approved Wideman's home arrest. 2 have passed away, 2 didn't respond, and 1 turned down an interview.
He was one of the ones that I'm sure that I read the thing and I'm going, well, why did they ever let him out in the first place? I mean, looking at the case and everything, that's without talking to the man or anything else, and just seeing, what the crime was.
But David Neal, who Wideman did appear before during the revocation process, agreed to sit down with us.
To me, it was really obvious really quick that he was the manipulator, that he was going to come in and tell his story the way he thought we wanted to hear it so that he could get his way. Based on everything I know and what I think has gone on since, I would probably vote to keep him in. I wouldn't give him that because I don't think he's done anything to correct any of his faults. He's just pushed the system hard enough and long enough.
ABC15 also reached out to Wideman's attorneys, who declined an interview, the Arizona Attorney General's office and the Board of Executive Clemency, telling us they couldn't comment. The Department of Corrections saying they had no one available for an interview before not responding to multiple follow-up email requests. When you read this settlement agreement and the thought of Jacob Wideman getting out again, I mean, what do you feel when you think about that? And are you anxious for December?
What I think about is what I said earlier and what I have said to the board repeatedly. If he gets out, he's going to do this again. And knowing what my family has been through for 38 years, I just pray that there isn't going to be another family that goes through this again because of him. And I know it'll happen. So I'm horrified about that possibility. And I take solace in the fact that the board has the right to turn him down. And I'm hoping that they will do that. But I'll be anxious. I'll be honest and say I'm anxious about December 3rd. I hope they do the right thing. I hope they aren't pressured by some, politics in the process. If it happens and he gets out, I will be horrified. No less horrified than I was when he got out in 2016. But if he does get out, he would again be on home arrest, still treated as an inmate, monitored by the parole board, by the Department of Corrections. And I will continue to fight like hell at his next parole hearing to see that he either gets back in prison or stays on home arrest.
ABC15 also reached out to Marta DeSoto, who would only say no comment. According to her online profiles, she is still working as a psychologist, this time out of state. Wideman's case is on the board's agenda on November 19th. It doesn't appear any action will be taken that day, just that the board will be getting legal advice. If the Board of Executive Clemency moves forward with the settlement, the State Attorney General's office says a judge would then have to approve it. Sandy and his family plan to attend the December 3rd hearing virtually. ABC15 will be there and will follow all of the developments here on Arizona Crime Uncovered. Thank you for watching Arizona Crime Uncovered. We're working to bring awareness to crimes where victims are still awaiting justice and also provide an in-depth look at cases still unfolding. Each episode breaks down a timeline of the case, where it stands now, and if any help is needed from the community. You can watch on ABC15.com, the ABC15 mobile app, Roku, YouTube, or any of your other streaming platforms.